Hello everyone, and welcome to the 34th episode of the Chess This Week. Starting off with two major super tournaments, the GCT and the CCT. The GCT Superbet Rapid and Blitz took place in Poland, and the king roared back in contention. Not King Kohli, the king Magnus Carlsen. It took quite a bit of effort for him to get back into form after having not played for a considerable while, and he started off the rapid portion with not winning a single game for a long time and also playing nonsense opens like 1v3 along the way. This was a tournament which consisted of both the rapid and the blitz, and at some point Magnus just completely took off, almost adopting an elite field. He scored almost 9.5 out of 10 in one particular phase, and he ends up winning the Superbet Rapid and Blitz in Poland and also taking home $40,000. Jan-Krzysztof Duda finished a creditable second place and he takes home $30,000. He fought till the very end and was leading for a considerable part of the tournament, but Magnus took the important games, the important points, and the tournament also featured Wesley So, the current leader of the FIDE circuit, MVL, Levon Aronian, Richard Rapport, Anish Giri, Kirill Shevchenko, Bogdan Daniel D, the wildcards for this event, and Wojciech, the Polish local super grandmaster, aside from Jan-Krzysztof Duda. And now moving on to the CCT, the Chess Kids Champions Chess Tour. Now this had three divisions like always, and the Division 1 had a major surprise. Now in the previous week I had forecasted, predicted that Hikaru is probably going to take home this one, considering that Magnus was not here. But Hikaru in fact got knocked out in the very first round. He lost against Jordan Van Forest 2.5, 1.5 and went down to the losers bracket since it's a double elimination event. But in the losers bracket, he ended up losing against Ali Reza Firoja, who himself had a surprise loss in his first round against the German Grandmaster Dmitry Kolars. Ali Reza defeated him 1.5, 0.5 and sent him home, although you do play from your home in online chess. But he sent him out of the tournament, and Hikaru has to play the qualification unit for the next time to get back into the Division 1. And this was won by Nodebek Abdusatiro. Now, Abdusatiro had a fabulous performance. He won every single one of his match. He didn't even need a single elimination, let alone a double elimination. And he defeated Fabiano, who has been in amazing form in recent times, not just once, but twice, and took it home deservedly. Now, this was the story of Division 1. In Division 2, Vladimir Fedosev did something similar to what Nodebek Abdusatiro did in Division 1. He dominated the tournament and he defeated Shakriya Mavadyalo, another world-class player, not once, but twice. And the Division 3, this featured a lot of Indian grandmasters, but it was only Harikrishna who made it all the way till the grand final, but he ended up losing against the Division 3 winner, Alan Pichot. Now, I myself had a pretty forgettable tournament, so we won't talk about it in this episode. Now, those are the top ring events. Now, if we just come a little bit lower, there was the Sharjah Masters, which featured 80 players, slightly lower than the level of the players who played in GCT, but nevertheless, 80 grandmasters, all of them rated about 2500. And this was won by Arjun Erigaisi, who had an amazing second half, scoring 4.5 out of his last 5 rounds. Samuel Sevian finished in the second place. He had the best tiebreak, and Gukesh finished in the third place after playing on the first board for almost 95% of the tournament. Not just the top 3 were strong players here. There was also Yu Yangi in the 4th place, Ike Martirosyan in the 5th place, Hans Niemann 6th, Amin Tabatabai 7th, and Grigory Opayan, who was Fabi's 2nd in the previous GCT, at the 8th place. Nihal Sarin had a pretty steady performance. He won 2 games, drew 7, and ended up scoring an undefeated 5.5. Pragnananda also had a similar score. And a shout out to the beast, Adiban, who had a horrid start at the beginning, but ended up winning several games at the end. We saw a resurgence of the beast, and he also ended up with 5.5 points. Now, after playing such a strong event in Sharjah, most sane humans would just want to rest in between, especially considering that the Dubai Open stands 2 days later. But a number of these tireless juniors traveled all the way from Sharjah to Al Ain to play in a one-day blitz event. and this was won by Amin Tabatabai, and Arjun Erigaisi took the second place despite being in the lead after 9 rounds. He ended up losing the last 2 games. The penultimate one against Amin Tabatabai and the final one against Adam Fauzi, a grandmaster from Egypt, and Ronak Sadwani, after a pretty forgettable tournament in Sharjah, took the 3rd place in this event, which was also a pretty strong event. Aside from players like Arjun, Ronak and Amin, there was also Adam Fauzi, who finished in the 4th place, Parham Maksudlu, Ayoda Chesku, SL Narayanan, Leon Mendonca, Hans Niemann, and Taimur Koivakar. The top 10, all of them grandmasters. Now let's move on from UAE to Cyprus, where the 4th leg of the Women's Grand Prix took place. Now Grand Prix has 4 legs, a group of players who play in 3 legs, and the 4th leg was won by the last seed of the tournament, Dinara Varno. She scored a score of 7 points out of 11 and ended up as the surprise winner. But this was not enough to get her into the candidates. It was in fact Katrina Lagno and Alexandra Goryachkina who had pretty decent performances in Cyprus and an overall consistent performance, and they end up being the 2 players who qualify for the women's candidates. Now the winner of the women's candidates will take on the current women's world champion, and this will be decided in a match in July. Now India has several states, and there is one state championship in chess which has a higher prize fund amongst all the state championships, and this is Karnataka. And this is because the Akshay Kalpa organic milk come forward to sponsor it almost every year since I've been following it. And this year is not an exception. The Akshay Kalpa Organic Karnataka State Chess Championship is taking place, and at the end of 4 rounds, several players in the lead. 18 players at the end of 4 rounds, including Grandmaster Tej Kumar, the 2nd seed of the tournament, International Master Vianney, the 1st seed, and the 4th seeded Women International Master Isha Sharma. Akshay Kalpa is sponsoring the prize fund of this tournament, which is 10 lakhs, and they also sponsor Nihal Sarim close to 4 years now. Now, talking about such awesome good things, we should also mention and give a shout out to the Chessbase India summer camp, which took place in Phoenix Mall in Mumbai. Now, this was a 10-day camp in which 700 participants took part. And the best part of it, it was all free. Now, this was a one-of-a-kind chess camp, and a big shout out to Sagar Shah and the entire Chessbase India team. Now, getting back to the current events, the Dubai Open started today at the time of recording this video, and many of the top players from Sharjah just traveled from Sharjah to Dubai. This includes Yu Yangi, Hans Niemann, Arjun Erigaisi, all of them winning their first round. The 4th seeded Saleh Miyar Saleh was held to a draw, so he starts off with a draw. Amin Tabatabai, the 5th seed, Maxim Matlako, Yawakir Sindaro. Most of the top players having a smooth sail. It's just the first round. A whole tournament is left here, and that brings us the FIDE segment of the chess this week, the FIDE circuit points. And Wesley So maintains his lead this week as well with a score of 56.52, along with D. Gukesh, who just has a 0.31 less than Wesley So. Both of them have played 4 events in which their performances are eligible to be counted for the FIDE circuit. And although they both are leaders, their average is just about something like 13.5. While on the other hand, you have someone like Anish Giri at the 3rd place. But although he has less points than the leaders with 46.47, his average is a bit higher. It's something like 15.5. So with one good tournament, he will leapfrog them. But having said that, with better performances, Wesley So and Gukesh's score will also increase. It's not like these points are set in stone. It's going to be the 5 best performances in 2023. And this is how the FIDE circuit works. And I have a feeling that you need something like 80 points here in order to qualify to the candidate. One player from here qualifies to the candidates. Now, Sam Savian is a new entrant. He had good performances in Stephen Avangian Memorial and the Sharjah Masters. He gets into the 4th place. Fabiano and Aronian keep their points. Magnus Carlsen, courtesy his super bet win, moves on to the 7th place, and Arjun Erigaisi moves on to the 8th place, courtesy his win in Sharjah Masters. And We have several strong players here, including Nodibek Abdusatro, who is at the 15th place right now, thanks to a not so great performance in WR Masters, from which he gained only 2 points, but he will look to come back in Norway Chess, which is set to start pretty soon. Now, let's have a look at a few exciting upcoming events going all the way to Nagpur, which will feature two exciting matches. The first of which is a match between Vidit Gujarati against Peter Swidler. Now, this is going to take place from 1st to 6th June, the Maharashtra Chess Festival Chess Challenge. And this is not the only match set to take place on this date in this location, but there is also going to be a match between Ronak Sadhwani against the former World Championship challenger Nigel Short. This will be a mixed format featuring classical, rapid, and blitz. So this is one event to watch out for in the coming week. There's also going to be the Kings Cup, which features an elite field consisting of all women. This includes Humpy, Harika, and some of the best women chess players in the world. This takes place in St. Louis from June 3 to 13, and the big one of them all, the Norway Chess, which starts on May 29. This features the King, Magnus Carlsen, the prodigies, Ali Reza Firoja, Gukesh, and Nodibek Abdusatiro, the clear top 3 arms juniors at the moment. It also features the elite regulars, Hikaru Nakamura, of course, Wesley So, Fabiano Caruana, and not just the Americans, but also Anish Giri and Shakhriyar Mahmoud. And it also features the second best player in Norway, the Norwegian Grandmaster Arjun. So this is going to be a delicious event to watch. That's this episode of the Chess This Week. Now, if you like this episode, then do hit that like button, subscribe to the channel if you haven't, and see you all potentially next week, although I'm not sure because I might be playing in a tournament. Now, there is an open tournament in Nagpur alongside the Vidit and the Ronak match, and there is also an open tournament in Singapore. So do let me know in the comments, where would you like me to play?